Good afternoon, boys and girls. It is a beautiful day in Northwest Dallas, Monday, April 11, 2022. And as much as I would like to say that I'm beginning the series that I laid out in my last video, I'm not there yet. I've been putting a lot of hours in and working my butt off, but excuse me. But this is a pretty juicy one today. I really enjoy these metaphysical discussions and ontological debates. They make you go deep, and I'm always up for that. I enjoy these little intellectual challenges. When I saw this article appear on the blog RussianFaith.com by Father Jacobse, I got excited because it gave me an opportunity to address something that's a passion of mine. Father Jacobse penned an article for that blog that was published on the blog on April 1st under the title, "Why God is He, Not She." And being that I am now, as a former Orthodox Christian, within the Dharmic camp, I follow what's more properly termed Sanatana Dharma, the eternal natural way. I decided to make some notes. I turned this, by the way, into a little transcript that any of you are welcome to if you'd like to have it. You can use it to defend your position if you happen to agree with me already, or even if you disagree with me, if you'd like a chance to really kind of pour over it. Some people can assimilate information better when they have something to read. But even if you disagree with me and you want to use it as ammunition to attempt to refute this or rebut this, I'm very happy to pass it along. I'll probably give a few personal notes at the end of this after I read my pre-prepared notes. I'll just add a couple of thoughts. But I'll also give an introductory thought here before I start. In Dharma, the pure Dharmic perspective on this is that God is androgynous, which in practical terms means that he is the union of two principles, the masculine and the feminine. He is the unity of those two principles. So these principles are real, they are distinct, they're not destroyed in this union, okay? But they are a unity nonetheless. And it is best represented in Dharma by the union between Shiva and Shakti. Shiva is just one of the forms of Brahman, the supreme deity, the supreme being, the creator. Shiva is the male principle. He is a stable force. He is a static force. He is the light of consciousness. Shakti is the female principle, and she is dynamic power or life force. She is the dynamic power and life force of Shiva. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward by reading these prepared notes in critique of Father Jacobs' article at Russian Faith titled "Why God is He, Not She." So here's my response. It will suffice to respond to the following paragraph alone from the article. So now I'm quoting Father Jacobs, and after this paragraph, the rest of the commentary is mine. So here's Father Jacobs. Put another way, if we call God she, we imply that God's manner of creation is similar to a woman giving birth. To that I would say, absolutely, no problem. Deep symbolic confusion results. We begin to think that God and the creation are one. What's the problem with that? That's my little interjection there. The ontological distance collapses. There is no real difference between God and creation. The binary disappears. And now to my response. The binary, I prefer the word distinction, does not disappear since God births, i.e., he precedes that which is born. That which is birthed is distinct from that which is birthless. Just as the Holy Trinity of persons in Christian theology are taught as being co-eternal, while two of them are nonetheless caused by the Father, with the Son being generated and the Spirit being spirated, i.e. proceeding. In other words, the Son and Spirit are, quote-unquote, birthed by the Father. Why don't we call the Father Mother with reference to the origination of the Son and Holy Spirit then? Because, says the author, we must guard against thinking that anything can be both caused or birthed and at the same time co-eternal with God. But the Son and Spirit are eternally caused by the Father while being co-eternal and co-equal with him, according to their own Nicene Creed. So if we go along with his argument, the Son and Spirit would have to either be thought of as ex nihilo creations of God the Father, or you must eliminate causation from the Father and equalize the three persons, turning the Trinity into a small pantheon of gods, which is polytheism. Either the Son and Holy Spirit are creatures, on his logic, or the Father gives birth to them within eternity, and he, Father Jacobs, just mixed genders by turning God into a transgendered, bearded mother. He transgresses the very boundary he set out to demolish. He does the very thing he attempted to avoid, i.e., collapse the genders. By the way, that's a claim he made in the article, is that you collapse gender, which gives, with this view of God, the Dharmic view of God, which gives rise to all of the moral problems that we see in society with certain alternative lifestyles. I'll just leave it at that, since this is YouTube. The bottom line is that Father Jacobs tacitly admits, by the nature of his argument, that a birthing analogy is automatic support for arguing that something, in this case the cosmos, is co-eternal with God. So why not say the Father, quote-unquote, birthed the Son and Spirit? The Creed argues it, even without using the word. Father Jacobs could try to argue that I am committing a logical fallacy, that just because all things are birthed, are co-equal by nature with the one giving birth, does not mean that all co-equal beings receive birth. He would argue, in other words, that it is an improper analogy as applied to the Holy Trinity. In other words, he would argue that the birthing analogy is not a proper analogy for explaining how it is that the Son is generated by the Father and the Spirit is spirated by the Father. Here is the problem with that protest. All analogies are by nature finite. So if he uses another analogy instead, he is still using the equivalent of a birthing analogy. On the other hand, if he resorts to the cop-out statement, "It is a mystery," he has said nothing at all. It is a senseless distinction to posit within the Trinity, i.e., the distinction between the Father as cause and the other two persons as caused. The fundamental, central root problem is that Christian Trinitarian theology cannot admit that there is inequality within eternity. In other words, you can have beings that are co-eternal, but not co-equal. This is the Dharmic view. For example, take souls. In Dharma, all souls are co-equal, uncreated archetypes in God before they are manifested. But neither are they equal to the Creator. They do not have infinite divine qualities. God voluntarily fragments without essentially dividing when he enters into this kenotic state of manifestation. This fact alone obliterates the doctrine of the Holy Trinity. The fact that the Son and Spirit were caused means there is a being greater than they are. They can be co-eternal with the Father, but they cannot be equal to the one who originated them. This argument, incidentally, destroys Advaita Vedanta, a prominent Vedic philosophical school, by showing that distinction is eternal, and that therefore distinction, quote unquote, and duality, quote unquote, are not the same thing. There is an inherent distinction between these two terms. Duality, therefore, implies opposition, while distinction does not. In this, we agree with the 6th century Neoplatonist Christian Dionysius. Ergo, distinction is not Maya or illusion, as taught by Advaita Vedanta. Maya is the perception that distinction is opposition or duality. Monism is true because distinctions are real. As I was reading, that was the end. As I was reading, I realized I feel like I said everything I wanted to say, so I don't think there's anything in addition I need to add here. This is a big subject. There's many different angles you could approach it from, and I'm sure I'll be getting into those things at some point as I cover different topics along the way. But I'm not going to get too far afield here because I want to keep the emphasis kind of concentrated on the argument Father Jacobse was making in his article. So with that, I'll go ahead and sign out. Like I said, these are deep ontological and metaphysical questions. So you may want to listen to this video. I try to speak slowly so you can process these thoughts, but you may want to listen to the video multiple times. And again, as I said, I have a little transcript I created. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, you can use this for your own purposes. If you want to use it to study, to, find a way to rebut this, go ahead. If you're, in my camp and you want to use it as a defense, as an apologetic, go right ahead. Feel free to ask me. I'll go ahead and send that to you. Have a great day, guys. Signing out now.